I was going to make a fixture to weld this together, and I'm thinking, man, I don't want to waste time making a fixture. And I realized here's this thing I had lying around the shop that's just about the right size to fit in there. So I'm going to use it. Now the problem is, of course, it's got a little bit of clearance inside of there, so I want to fill up the gap between the tubing and the thing inside that I'm using as a fixture. So guess what? I ran across this stuff. Somebody suggested this on one of the knitting forums that I frequent. I think this one's called knittingguild.com, and it's called copper flashing. It's used on, on your roofs, on houses, stuff people aren't going to live in for much longer when the socials take over and put us all in apartments. Anyway, this stuff's about 20 thousandths of an inch thick, and it's, copper is just about the best welding backing material. Something that weld does not stick to. Something that like I'm going to TIG this. I'm going to TIG all this and just fusion it. So I'm not even going to put filler in there. So I'm going to burn it pretty hot so it melts completely. And on the other side of it, with that flashing there, it won't melt all the way through. Well, it will melt all the way through, but that's the extent of it. It won't stick to that welding fixture thingy that I've got in there. Here I've got it all clamped up. I've got my forward piece of square tubing, roughly square tubing, clamped to the rear piece of roughly square tubing, and as you can see, now I faced off both these pieces beforehand. That's very important. Well, if you're not going to use a fixture, it's very important, and I think it's important anyway, because no matter what, if you don't have it nice and square, once you weld it, that weld it's gonna pull and it's gonna move around and it's gonna screw things up. And this way, you're best assured that it'll be in alignment. So I've got the weld fixture thingy in there, and I've got the copper flashing in there, and it's actually wrapped around 90 degrees. Yeah, you can see on the bottom. And so I'm gonna try to get some video of this, of the actual welding. That should be cool. I'm gonna try. Now I see there's a little bit, like it's perfect across here, perfect. Here it's good. Here, it's got a little bit of a ledge here, and we're talking like 3 thousandths of an inch, but still, we're gonna put something under there to pick it up to make these even, or push this down, either way. And I'm thinking pushing down will be easier. And it doesn't have to be anything, super high tech. Well, I'm going to tack in here just see how the welding, just how the camera works on the welding. There we go. You don't have to worry about this fixture in there is, let me start over. Okay, I was a little bit worried about this little shelf right here. It's very good down here. Everything, it's absolutely flush on the outside, which means hopefully the inside is flush, since it's the material here and here should be the same thickness. I'm a little bit worried about that sticking out, but I thought, wait a minute. The little welding fixture thingy I'm using in there is what is getting in the way, and I don't need that to do. Yes, I've actually already done this, and I'm coming back and doing it on camera because I actually wasn't recording last time. Anyway, so I'm worried about this not being flush, but what we're going to do is put the flashing on there, crank this down, clamp the hell out of it, and then that way we'll get it absolutely flush. But in the meantime, since I want to get these things together first. Let me go ahead and put the fixture thingy back in there. And yes, I'm putting it backwards only because I get a little bit more material engaging the bottom than I would if I put it in forwards. Not that it matters, because it's just some random piece of metal that's sitting around the shop anyways. Who cares? So here we go. Same thing I did with the other side. Just clamp it. Jed clamp it. I know some of you out there remember who Jed Clampett is. Just double check my focus here. Yeah, hold on. Now one thing I realized, these videos might be around for a long time, and I'm sure in the future you guys won't be using your hands anymore, because the millennials now hardly use their hands. So look, yeah, these are gloves, but inside they're actual human hands. Just want to let you know there are no tricks here. I am actually using my hands to do all this work today. Yes, it's very unusual, I know, for you future people who have shit just, you know, magically appear in front of you or whatever. Alright, let me get set up here. Okay, now make damn sure this stuff is clean, clean, clean. The most important thing, well, one of the most important things in welding is make sure that sucker is extremely clean. Otherwise, you're going to have nice little volcanoes and crap popping up in your weld. All right, and you notice I'm not using clamps to push this thing together. Why? Because once you put the first tiny little bit of weld on there, that sucker just pulls like there's no tomorrow. Okay. Try to make it so you can see it. I'm a little bit shaky today. It's a combination of caffeine and heroin and LSD from last night. I'm hoping it'll wear off in a little bit here. Alright, so that looks pretty nice. And it's absolutely flush there. See, a little bit, it's getting a little bit shelfy as we move away. But that's okay, because I'm gonna take the block thingy out of there and clamp like I was talking about before, clamp the sides. Alright, just one little tack more. Yeah, kind of cheat just a little bit. Not really cheating. It's hard to try to avoid the camera and do all this crap. I really need a third hand. Isn't that funny? People aren't going to be using their hands and I could use three. It's crazy back here in 2020, folks, let me tell you. That's pretty good. We're going to go for it. I like it. Just a little tiny tack. I used to work with a guy getting mad when you said little tiny. Just, you don't need little and tiny, just either little or tiny. Here we go. Little tiny tack. Realized the sound wasn't on. Anyway, got a little bit of volcano in there, that sucks. So let me try again. If you get lucky, sometimes you can burn the volcano out. Sometimes it's just a little bit of contamination, and just keeping the heat on it will drive it out, and that doesn't look too awful. And the main thing it did was keep the sides flush. Yeah, that's very good. And here we go. Coming from the wrong side again. Hopefully we don't have volcano here, but we'll see. Yeah, we got a little bit of volcano. But it wasn't too bad. I'm going to use the pulser here, which makes the arc pulse, and it's really good for situations like this, as you'll see. Yeah, well, it looks okay, I guess. You know, it seems to be sort of all right. And you can tell I'm holding this in my shaky hands, but I just wanted to get up close so you can see. Pretty nice welds. Alright, here goes a little more. Alright, it's not burned through well enough, so we'll go over that again. We want this whole weld to look just like that. Make sure I can see that. Yeah, this is completely melted through right here, and this there's still remnants of the old joint where they got married in San Francisco. Yeah, so we're just gonna remelt along here. No biggie. Wow. That sure is pretty, isn't it? Looks great. Looks great. Now the question is, did it burn through all the way? And not quite. Damn it. Gotta go a little bit hotter. That's the beauty of TIG. You could just go over it again and again and eventually end up with exactly what you want. That's very close to being burned all the way through. I'm going to look at that through a loop. Okay, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and play Captain Obvious here and say, well, why don't we just weld the inside? Yeah, you can. And that's what I'm going to do now. How many of you are yelling at the screen saying, weld the inside? But yeah, it's a little tough because I don't have one of those little tiny TIG torches where I can get in there and maneuver, so this is going to have to be at a not very good angle. So it might do some screwy shit, and we'll find out. It'll get better as we go out here. But anyway, give it a try. Okay, it wasn't making my favorite noises in the whole world there. A little more sizzly than it should have been, which sounds like a little bit of contamination, but we'll see here. And contamination can be bad in something like this, because this is one of those square tubes that gets, I should be calling this a rectangular tube. This is one of those rectangular tubes that gets a fair amount of force on it, and it'll make it want to break. And if there's a lot of contamination in that weld, it won't be as strong as it should be. And it could break, who knows. But I'm not gonna let it, I'll make sure I get the contamination out. And it'll be awesome. You could really get away without even having to sand that down, grind anything. Just use it as is. Well, thanks for watching, folks. I appreciate it as usual. I hope you learned something here that'll up your TIG welding game. Here's a look at the crazy lighting setup I used to get some of the footage. If you liked the video, I'd appreciate a thumbs up, share it with your friends, all that great stuff. Subscribe, aren't you subscribed already? Do it. Thanks, catch you next time.